So can President Trump stay on message while he's in court every day? Well, joining us now to tell us all about it, Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to President Trump and Fox News contributor. Kellyanne, love, welcome, welcome, welcome. Besides going to the bodega in Harlem, I guess this morning he went to this construction site on the Midtown, 48th and Park. And we have a poll. I don't know whether the poll's any, but he's narrowed the gap in New York to only 10 points. 4 years ago it was 23 points. So what's going on here?
What's going on is that Trump is actually expanding his coalition. His core constituency just looks and feels and is different. It's larger, but it's more diverse than it's been in the past, 2016 or 2020. Larry, why? Because it includes even more union households than in 2016 when that helped us win in places like Michigan and Pennsylvania, Ohio. It includes more Hispanics and African Americans. It includes more women. People say, oh, he's not going to win women. Excuse me, he beat the Queen Bee herself, the would-be first female president of the United States, while a majority of the voters were female. We've been a majority of the electorate since 1964.
That's right.
And so even if he gets 4% more, 3% more, that New York Times Siena poll that shows Biden leading Trump in New York by 10 points, whereas Biden won New York by 23 last time, if it's half right, Biden's in trouble. But see what Trump's doing? He's doing something Joe Biden can't do. Joe Biden can't command a crowd. He can't, it's just low energy, no excitement whenever he shows up somewhere. And what's ironic is this is the way the Democrats, like Barack Obama, particularly Bill Clinton, even Jimmy Carter at the time, all over Iowa, would go through the crowd and shake hands and talk to the people directly. It's been Trump at his rallies, Larry, up on the dais, now with the teleprompter above the people.
And they're cheering him.
They're switching roles now.
He goes to the bodega and a crowd just develops.
Chick-fil-A in Atlanta.
Chick-fil-A, it's God's chicken or the Lord's chicken. And then he does this thing in Midtown on 48th Street where they're building a big bank building. And by the by, you take a look at those construction workers. I see a lot of blacks. I see a lot of Hispanics.
Absolutely.
Okay, and they're the ones, and they're all chanting for Trump. So you know something's going on, and the Biden thing is just like dead air and dead weight.
Yep, and I'm just one small person, and people run up to me from all places, all spaces, many different faces. Tell him we're for him 100%. Some people say I didn't vote for him before, but things are so bad now. Biden's a real gift to Trump. I think also, ironically, even though he's stuck in the courtroom most days, Larry, he's on message.
Yeah.
And his message, he's projecting strength, resilience, perseverance, these great American qualities. But he's also the guy who's got the better plan on inflation economy. He's not going to hike your tax. He's not going to do a 44% cap gains tax. I think that many of these people predicted when Trump was elected in 2016, he's going to be the king of debt. He should say, I'm the king of growth, and here's how, and here's why.
I love that king of growth. I love that. Are you kidding? You know how good that is?
You can have that.
All right, the king of growth, we're going to go to Mr. Trump on anti-Semitism, where Joe Biden has nothing to say. But listen to Mr. Trump for a moment, please.
I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases, will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment.
People love that.
And, right, so we're going to go after their rich endowments. We could fine them and tax them if need be, because he wants to go to a merit policy, not a DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion policy. He's totally opposed to what the anti-Semites are doing. And the other thing is, he said, we didn't quite get it in this clip, he will enforce civil rights laws against discrimination, which Joe Biden hasn't uttered a peep about, which Merrick Garland hasn't uttered a peep about, and which is disgusting that they haven't uttered a peep about it.
They haven't. Listen, even when they work hard, they work on the issues that don't animate Americans. I love how President Trump injects himself into what I would call the cultural touch points, the cultural zeitgeist. So people are saying, what can Columbia do? What can New York do? What's going on? This is crazy in our college campuses, also happening in the halls of Congress. We have a lot of anti-Semites there who can't even vote yes on a resolution to condemn Hamas, a squad that doesn't do squat leading the charge. But President Trump standing up and saying, you elect me, and there is a federal role for what's happening on college campuses, and here's what we're going to do. And I think the reason that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Merrick Garland don't touch the civil rights enforcement is because they think they own the issue. And just as they thought they owned the issue of illegal immigration and border security 9 years ago when Donald Trump raised it to the elevated to the national consciousness, Larry, they called him all these names, and now it's the #1 and #2 issue in all the swing states. They miscalculated the wisdom of the voter yet again. They thought if we can attack Trump and his plan on the wall and immigration and border security, we can get more Hispanics. It's backfired. Hispanics are running towards Donald Trump.
I was
and
saying
it's also young people. Redfin in the Hill has an amazing article today about housing costs.
That's right.
The average a young couple, when are they going to buy this first home? That's Biden to blame. That's not Putin. That's not COVID. That's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats.
Mortgage rates.
It's terrible. They
borrowing
can't even think about it.
30% credit card costs, and it's now showing up again in the inflation numbers. I mean, I was saying in the last segment, it's maybe tongue-in-cheek, but not. Average folks, average voters, average consumers are smart. They are not stupid. The Bidens think they're stupid. Average people have a wisdom. They know the way the world works. Just from, their curbside level of living or their kitchen table level. It's unbelievable. Trump gets that. Trump gets that. Biden doesn't have a clue about that.
No, I have moderated thousands of focus groups in my career, Larry, and I've been in all 50 states at least once doing a project on the ground. And when you sit with people, you don't insult them. You learn to appreciate them and elevate their opinions. They will tell you their aspirations, frustrations. Let me tell you something. I look down and see somebody's household income, basically the latte and dry cleaning bills annually for some of my friends in New York. That's their household income for the whole year. They have thought this through. They can't afford to make a bad mistake, whether it's in their household budget or for President of the United States. And he's got them.
He does have them. The numbers show he has them. Kellyanne Conway, there's nobody better. Seriously, nobody better. Thank you. You told me last night at this birthday party that you were going to show up, and you did.
Here we are.
It was like magic from heaven.
Well,
all right.
Yes, showing up is 85%. Here we are.
We love you for us.